Welcome back, everyone, to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast. We are diving headfirst into chapter 122 today.
The chapter is titled, "The Dead Are Useless," which is an incredibly ominous start.
It really is. It's a title that just hangs over every panel. It feels like a threat, or maybe a statement of philosophy from our villains.
I think it's the latter. It feels like the core belief system of an organization like Baroque Works. There's no honor, no respect for the fallen, no memory. There is only victory and profit. A dead agent can't collect a bounty. A dead enemy can't be made an example of. In their world, death is a failure, the end of utility. It's so cold and corporate, which is perfectly on brand for them.
That's a super dark way to put it, but you're spot on. It's the opposite of everything we've seen so far. Remember Dr. Herolook? He believed a man only dies when he's forgotten. For Baroque Works, you're dead the second you stop being useful. Chilling. But for all the darkness in that title, the moment that stands out, the moment that defines this whole chapter is Zoro. Just Zoro. He's trapped, watching his friends about to be turned into wax statues, and he makes a decision.
He decides the only path forward is to cut off his own legs to get free and fight.
The absolute unbelievable warrior spirit of that man. We throw words like dedication and loyalty around all the time, but this is a whole other level. This is something primal. If you believe in that same kind of commitment, the kind that says, I will do literally anything for my crew, then make sure you're subscribed. You're part of this crew now, and you won't want to miss what happens next.
A very high bar for commitment, but I agree. Let's get into it. The chapter opens right where we left off, with the giant Brogy struggling against Mr. 3.
And Brogy is trying so hard to get up. Let's just remind everyone of the scale here. This isn't just a big guy. This is a giant of Elbaf. We saw him and Dory take down a sea monster the size of an island just for a snack. He's been fighting his best friend for 100 years straight. This is a legend, a living myth. And he's being toyed with by some guy in a suit with a flaming 3 on his head.
It's a classic matchup that Oda likes to present. Overwhelming physical power versus a tricky strategic devil fruit ability. Brute force meets esoteric rules. And Mr. 3 is a perfect example of this. He understands his own limitations. He knows he can't trade blows with a giant.
Heck no. Brogy would turn him into a red smear on the jungle floor with one punch.
Exactly. So he doesn't play that game. He sees Brogy's raw strength beginning to overcome the simple wax restraints, and he adapts. He realizes sheer force isn't enough to hold a giant. So he uses his wax fruit powers to create 4 enormous, sharp swords out of wax.
And he just impales Brogy with them, straight through his hands and feet, pinning him to the ground like an insect you'd see in a collection. The sheer disrespect of it is staggering. It's a mockery of a warrior. A swordsman pins a warrior with swords he created out of candle drippings. It's pure humiliation.
It's not just about immobilization, it's a performance. Mr. 3 is an artist, and this is his canvas. He's making a statement. He's showing everyone, especially the Straw Hats trapped on his candelabra, that even a legendary giant, a symbol of untamable warrior pride, is just a toy to him, a prop in his grand installation.
You can feel Brogy scream. It's not just pain, it's the frustration of a warrior being completely neutralized by a power he can't even punch. He's swinging at smoke. He's trying to fight an idea, and it's just failing. He's stuck. There's nothing glorious about this defeat. It's just sad.
This tells us so much about Mr. 3's mentality. He's a tactician first and foremost, but he has this twisted artistic sensibility. His goal isn't just to kill, it's to create a monument to his own victory, a tableau of his enemy's despair. He's not Mr. 5 who just wants to blow things up. He's not Mr. 1 who we can assume is a pure fighter. Mr. 3 is a producer, and this is his masterpiece.
And he spells it out right after. He turns to Nami, Vivi, and Zoro, who are getting more and more covered in this hardening wax from the giant candle structure they're on, and he speeds it up. He adds more wax, making the flame on top burn bigger and the drip faster. He's savoring this.
His whole setup is so mocking and theatrical. He explains, with a smug little smile, I'm sure, that they're all going to be turned into a group of wax statues. This isn't quick death. It's a slow, terrifying process of petrification.
But the part that gets me, the pure evil of it, is when he says he's going to preserve the look of horror on their faces forever. That's his masterpiece. Not just defeating them, but capturing their final moment of terror for all time. He wants to own their final emotion. Who even thinks like that?
It's the calling card of Baroque Works. It's not enough to win. They have to dominate, to humiliate, to erase their opponent's will entirely. We saw it with Crocodile's plan for Alabasta. He doesn't just want to take over. He wants to be hailed as a hero while the true king is disgraced. It's psychological warfare. And we're seeing it here on a smaller but much more personal and grotesque scale. Mr. 3 is a perfect microcosm of the whole organization's philosophy.
Brogy tries to get up again, even with the wax swords through his limbs. He's just pulling against them, roaring. The fighting spirit is still there, roaring inside him, but his body is failing him. His blood is spilling onto the jungle floor. It's a heartbreaking image.
And Zoro is watching all of this. He's not panicking, he's observing. He sees the giant struggle. He feels the wax creeping up his own legs, getting harder, heavier. He knows time is running out. Nami and Vivi are starting to lose hope, but Zoro's mind is just calculating.
This is where it gets real. This is the moment that solidifies Zoro in the god tier of loyal crewmates. Zoro's trapped. His swords are right there in his hands, but his legs are stuck to the base of this wax cake. He can't move. He can't fight. For Roronoa Zoro, that is a fate worse than death. It's a fundamental violation of his entire existence.
So he takes inspiration from Brogy. He sees a warrior who refuses to give up, no matter the cost, no matter how hopeless it seems. Brogy's roar isn't one of defeat, it's one of defiance. And Zoro recognizes that. It resonates with his own soul, and he makes a choice.
He grips two of his swords, aims them down at his own ankles, and gets ready to cut his own feet off. I have to stop here for a second. The first time I read this, my jaw was on the floor. He has decided with zero hesitation that his legs are less important than his ability to fight for his friends. That's Zoro.
He's completely calm about it too. That's the most unsettling part. There's no hesitation, no screaming, just a grim resolution. He even poses, ready to strike. It's a swordsman's stance, a kata. He's treating the act of severing his own limbs with the same focus and ceremony as any other sword technique. His thought process is crystal clear. If these legs are what's holding me back, then I don't need them.
This connects all the way back to his fight with Mihawk. A scar on the back is a swordsman's shame. He'd rather die than retreat. Here, he'd rather mutilate himself than be helpless. It's the same core principle, just dialed up to 1,000. His life, his body, it's all secondary to his path as a swordsman and his duty to his crew. He made a promise to Luffy that he would never lose again, and being turned into a wax statue without even fighting, that's a loss. This is his way of refusing to lose.
You know, it's interesting to analyze the psychology there. For Zoro, his identity is intrinsically linked to his ability to fight. His body is a tool to achieve his dream and protect his captain. If a part of that tool is preventing the whole from functioning, then that part is expendable. It's a terrifyingly pragmatic and shockingly honorable mindset. There's no ego in it in a strange way. It's not about self-preservation. It's about purpose preservation.
Purpose preservation. I love that. That's exactly it. What's the point of having legs if you can't use them to walk the path you've chosen? For him, there is no point. He'd rather crawl down that path than stand still, perfectly whole but utterly useless.
He's also thinking tactically even in this extreme state. He knows even if he gets free, he'll be fighting Mr. 3, Mr. 5, Miss Valentine, Miss Golden Week. It's a huge risk. He'll be bleeding out, unbalanced, in immense pain. But in his mind, it's the only option. To stand still and accept fate is not in his vocabulary. To do nothing is the only true defeat.
And Brogy sees it. In the middle of his own agony, he sees what Zoro is about to do, and he is just floored. He stops roaring. His eyes go wide. He recognizes that spirit. He sees a true warrior, the kind of warrior he hasn't seen in 100 years, and it gives him another burst of strength. He makes one last desperate attempt to free himself, inspired by Zoro's own insane honor.
It's a beautiful, tragic moment. Two warriors from completely different worlds, different generations, different species, recognizing the same unshakable will in each other. Brogy lived by the sword, by a code of honor, for centuries. In this one kid, he sees that same fire, maybe even brighter than his own. It's a concept that will become so central to the series, the passing of an era and the recognition of the next generation's spirit.
It's a feedback loop of pure warrior energy. Brogy's defiance inspires Zoro, and Zoro's insane commitment inspires Brogy right back. It's incredible. And just as Zoro is about to swing, just as you feel the blades are about to connect, just as you're thinking he's really going to do it, you hear it.
A familiar voice screaming from the forest, a series of ridiculous, frantic shouts.
It's Luffy and Usopp and Karoo. They come crashing out of the trees, and the entire tone of the chapter just flips on a dime. It's one of Oda's greatest skills. He can take you to the absolute brink of despair, and then with one panel inject so much hope and chaotic energy that you get whiplash.
The tension doesn't vanish, but it changes. The feeling of hopeless despair, of a slow, inevitable death, is instantly replaced by the feeling of an impending counterattack, the arrival of the captain.
The perfect Luffy entrance. No complex strategy, no questions. He sees his friends in trouble, he sees the bad guys, and the solution is simple. Punch the bad guys. It's this beautiful, straightforward morality that cuts through all of Mr. 3's schemes and artistry. Mr. 3 is playing 4D chess, and Luffy just flips the whole board over.
You can just feel the relief from Zoro. He doesn't even have time to be surprised. He immediately shifts into tactical mode. He stops trying to cut his legs off, looks up, and shouts at Luffy to destroy the giant candle holder. He knows the priority. He trusts Luffy completely to handle the fight.
That transition is so important. 1 second, he's fully prepared to cripple himself because he believes he's the only one who can act. The very next second, his captain is here, and his role instantly changes. He trusts Luffy implicitly. His job was to get free and fight. Now that Luffy's here, the job changes. Now it's about directing the captain to the most critical target to save everyone else. He seamlessly shifts from lone warrior to first mate. And of course, Mr. 3 isn't just going to let that happen. He has no idea who this straw-hatted kid is. He steps up, all smug and confident, adjusts his ridiculous glasses, and basically says, "You'll have to get through me first." He challenges Luffy directly, which, as we know from watching guys like Morgan, Buggy, and Krieg, is generally a terrible career-ending idea.
It sets the stage perfectly. Mr. 3 is an incredibly tricky, indirect fighter. He relies on traps, clones, and schemes. His entire persona is built on cleverness and control. Luffy is the most direct, straightforward fighter imaginable. He is a force of nature. It's a perfect clash of styles, the intricate artist versus the chaotic storm.
I love it. The hopelessness is gone, and now it's just pure hype. The captain has arrived, the objective is clear, and a fight is about to break out. This is what One Piece is all about. The crew pushing each other to their absolute limits, facing true despair, and then one of them showing up to smash the wall down when they can't go any further. They save each other, always.
It's also important that Usopp is there. He's not just moral support cowering behind a tree. He's right there with Luffy. And against an enemy as unconventional as Mr. 3 and his partner, Miss Golden Week, a brawler like Luffy might struggle. Luffy punches things. What happens when the thing you need to punch is a concept or an illusion? Usopp's ingenuity, his bag of tricks, could be the key. This might be a fight where Usopp is more valuable than Zoro or Sanji would be.
And Karoo, don't forget Karoo. The super spot-billed duck is ready for action. He carried them all the way here. He's a true warrior of the Alabasta Kingdom, and he looks ready to charge in. He's part of the cavalry.
What an incredible sequence of events. The calculated cruelty of Mr. 3, Zoro's ultimate display of warrior spirit, and the perfectly timed tone-shifting arrival of the rest of the crew.
What a chapter. It just reinforces everything we love about Zoro and everything we hate about Baroque Works. It pushes a Straw Hat to the absolute edge of self-mutilation and then reminds you that they're never ever alone. That's the good stuff right there.
Before we move on, Oda's author comment this week was short and sweet. I received all sorts of birthday presents. Thank you so much. Gonna do my best.
Aw, happy late birthday to the master himself. He'd have been about 26 when he wrote this chapter. It's wild to think about. And if he's gonna do his best, we know we're in for something incredible. That's a promise from Oda, and he always delivers.
Definitely. It feels like we're on the cusp of the first major Straw Hat counteroffensive in this arc. They've been on the back foot since they entered the Grand Line, and this is the moment where it feels like they're about to punch back hard.
Absolutely. Okay, before we get into what's next, we have to talk more about Zoro's decision. I mean, what a moment. Let us know in the comments, on our Twitter, wherever you find us, what you think is the most hardcore display of loyalty from any Straw Hat so far. Nami stabbing her own arm to get rid of the Arlong tattoo comes to mind. Sanji's willingness to die for Zeph. There are a lot of contenders, but this one is way, way up there.
That's a good question. It's hard to top, I will cut my own limbs off to save you. The only thing that might come close is a moment we haven't seen yet. But I have a feeling the bar will only get higher from here.
It really is. Okay, predictions. Chapter 123. The board is set, the players are in position. What's coming? You go first.
All right, my first prediction is that Luffy's straightforward fighting style is going to be completely ineffective against Mr. 3's wax at first. He's going to try to gum pistol the candelabra and just get his fist stuck in hardening wax. He's going to try to punch Mr. 3 and hit a wax clone. We've already seen him use those. I think the first few pages will be dedicated to showing that brute force is not the answer here, establishing Mr. 3 as a legitimate strategic threat.
Ooh, I like that. It forces him to think, which is always a fun time. Or more likely, it forces someone else to think for him. Okay, for my first one, I'm predicting Usopp is that someone. He's the one who figures out the weakness. He's going to watch Luffy failing, getting frustrated, and he'll notice something about the wax. My guess is fire. It's simple, it's classic. He'll use one of his fire-based attacks or something similar, launch it at the base of the candelabra, and it'll start to melt, freeing Zoro, Nami, and Vivi. It's a classic Usopp moment of saving the day with his smarts and his gadgets, not his strength.
That feels very plausible. It would be a great way to showcase his unique contribution to the crew's combat ability. My second prediction centers on Miss Golden Week. We haven't seen her do much yet besides paint, sip tea, and be completely unbothered by everything. I think her strange color painting ability is going to be used on Luffy. She'll use a specific color, maybe a calming blue or a melancholy gray, to drain his motivation or make him ridiculously placid. She'll completely neutralize the biggest threat on the board without throwing a single punch, forcing Usopp to deal with her directly.
That's a terrifying thought. Apathy is the ultimate enemy of Monkey D. Luffy. His entire being runs on passion and drive. Taking that away is like taking the rubber out of his fruit. Yikes. Okay, my second prediction, I think Zoro, once he's freed, is not going after Mr. 3. Luffy's got that handled, or at least he's called dibs. I predict Zoro immediately goes after Mr. 5. He needs a fight. He needs to release all that pent-up frustration from being trapped. He'll want to test his swords against a Doot Fruit user he hasn't fought before, and a guy who throws bombs from his body is a perfect warm-up. Plus, it's payback for what Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine did in Whiskey Peak.
That's a score to settle, perhaps for how they treated Vivi and Igaram. That makes sense. Zoro has a long memory for slights against his crew, and for how they treated Karoo. For my final prediction, I think we're going to see a Karoo moment. He's not just transport, he's a member of the party. I predict that while everyone is focused on the officer agents, Karoo is the one who actually gets to Vivi and Nami and helps them get down from the melting structure once Luffy and Usopp provide an opening. It won't be a big, flashy fight, but a small but critical act of bravery that saves them from a nasty fall. He is Vivi's loyal steed, after all.
Yes, the heroic duck gets his due. I love it. My final prediction is a simple one. It's more about the chapter's ending. I predict the chapter ends with Mr. 3 completely bewildered. His perfect plan, his beautiful art, his controlled environment is going to be smashed to pieces by Luffy's chaotic energy and Usopp's clever tricks. The last panel we see of him in the chapter will be a close-up on his face, utterly confused and outraged as to how someone so simple, so brutish could ruin his intricate trap. It's the classic Oda villain reaction to encountering a force of pure, unadulterated freedom.
The clash of the artist and the force of nature, the strategist versus the hurricane. I can see that clearly. Mr. 3 believes he's in control, and Luffy's specialty is shattering that illusion for his enemies.
It's gonna be a good one. The cavalry is here, and the tide is about to turn. Things are about to get super exciting.
Let's see if we're right. Join us next time as we dive into Chapter 123.